Okay, fantastic. Guess we're almost.
That was my.
I assume
go.
so as well, but you never.
Oh, there's Tim. Well, welcome everyone. We'd like to welcome you to the Washington County Board of Commissioners meeting, and we especially want to thank all of those in public safety that are here to join us for a few minutes. Thank you so much for everything you do, and thank you for just being here. We really appreciate you. And I feel a lot safer now that you're here. So, not that I don't feel safe, because Nate does a good job as sheriff. All of you do. So anyway, thank you. As we begin today's meeting, we will have Tim Martin from our Interfaith Council and the LDS Church will give us our opening prayer, our invocation, after which we have Roberto Aguilar, who is from our Washington County Sheriff's Officers Explorer Program. And thank you so much for being here, Roberto. We really appreciate that. And Carl, thank you. I noticed Carl was kind of giving him a little bit of coaching. And anyway, thank you for being here. So.
Before I offer the prayer, let me, I was actually here on some business related to the RAP tax. The St. George Interfaith Choir received a grant from the RAP program, and I just wanted to thank you for that. It's being on the receiving end, it's just been delightful and allowed the choir to do many things we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great program. You'll join me in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful this day as we begin this meeting of the Washington County Commission. We're thankful for those who serve us. We're thankful for those who protect us. We're thankful for the first responders and for all those who worry about our safety. We pray a blessing to be upon them and their families, that they might be safe, that they might feel comfortable going to work, that they might know that they are appreciated by those of us who live here in Washington County. We're thankful for the moisture we've received. We pray for additional rain, that our land might receive that nourishment that it needs. We're thankful for the beauty of Washington County and this wonderful place to live. We pray this day for thy inspiration and wisdom be upon those who might participate in this meeting, that they can say and do those things that will be helpful and beneficial and will help our commissioners be able to make good decisions. We're thankful for those who serve those who are making these inputs and making these decisions. Now we dedicate this time to those who are working, who are going to be served by this county commission, and this we do in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Will the audience please rise? For those in uniform, present arms. Will the audience now follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. The audience may be seated.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. As we begin today's meeting, our first item is our consent agenda. The consent agenda is a means of expediting the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than requests to remove items, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is non-debatable.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to make the motion to approve the consent agenda, which are these following items. A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payment for February 2nd, 2022 through March 1st, 2022. Item B, consideration of regular commission meeting minutes of February 1, 2022 and special meeting minutes of February 15th, 2022. Item C, consideration of administrative adjustments for real property. Item D, consideration of administrative adjustments for personal property. And item E, consideration of applications for property tax abatement, of which there were two. Acknowledgement, item F, acknowledgement of publishing, notice of adoption of ordinance number 2022-1203-0 and 2022-1204-0 on Saturday, February 5th, 2022. That is my motion.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Our first item is recognizing one of our great employees here at the county, Andrea Johnson, who has been with our library system for 10 years. Joel, do you want to come brag about Andrea? I'm sure she's been looking forward to having the spotlight on her today. So,
it is my pleasure to brag about Andrea. We have a lot of good people that work in the library system. They have a lot of fun. But Drea gets to work with the kids. She's our children's librarian in Santa Clara, and she has the most fun. As an example of some of the fun, creative things that she does, we sometimes show movies at the library, but she doesn't just show movies. She has a drive-in where the kids create box cars and then sit in the cars for the movie. So
fantastic.
Fun things. Their Halloween programs are just fun to visit. And just all that she does, she just does a fantastic job and has a lot of fun, and the parents really love her, and we love her. Keep up the good work. So,
Well, thank you. Our next item is a presentation of our TWCA Robotics team that has taken state champion. Ship here in Washington County is going to the World Championship in Houston, I believe, and they were going to come do a presentation. And I have to tell you, as I watched them come in, and Roberto did such a fantastic job at leading us in our Pledge of Allegiance. With everything going on in the world today, sometimes you get a little bit pessimistic, but it's fantastic to see these young people. So I don't know who I turn this over to as far as a kind of a presentation, talk a little bit about your club and your success.
They should come on up. Don't you
Yes,
think?
please.
Come on up, all of you. Yeah, that'd be
Yep.
great.
Yep.
Hello, we're the team without a cool acronym, and we are, as you said, a youth robotics team based out of Hurricane, and we've gained a lot of support from everybody around Washington County, and we kind of wanted to show our appreciation for all the support that we've gained, past, present, and future. I believe that there's a video that will kind of show everything that we've done throughout our season.
After a shortened competitive season, the Hurricane-based Team Without a Cool acronym brought home top honors at several qualifying events and won the Inspire Award for excellence in all categories at the state championship. Competing in the First Tech Challenge, the TWCA designed, built, and tested their own robot for this year's competitive challenge. In the Freight Frenzy game, teams competed in groups of 4 to load, transport, and deliver small items of various shapes and sizes to scoring areas. While the First Tech Challenge certainly strengthens engineering and science competence, it also fosters interpersonal skills, finance acumen, and leadership abilities. Several of the TWCA team members shared their favorite parts of First competition, as well as the lessons and skills they've learned along the way.
Competing in First has helped me a lot with both my social skills and my mechanical skills. It has helped me reach out into other aspects of my life, like I have helped repair my own car because of the skills that I've gained from building a robot, and also been able to reach out to teachers and companies because of the social skills that I've gained from First.
So it's really stressful. It's more challenging and thrilling being there in the moment. First is the hardest fun that you'll ever have, and I've heard this multiple times from multiple teammates and from multiple coaches.
It has helped a ton. I can talk to other teammates, which means I'm connecting to my peers better. I have to connect and outreach and just talk to businesses all the time. We've had sponsorships from huge engineering companies that I've gotten to connect and communicate with and just talk to and pick their brains, learn things. It's been super cool. Another thing with the outreach is just being there and helping out the younger kids, teaching them about the program. It's super fun.
I really enjoy pretty much the whole aspect of being on this team, because it not only does it just give you something fun to do in your spare time, but it really kind of gives you a whole community.
Well, it's probably getting to know all the different people and having them be able to know about me and all the friends we've made. Since our first year, we've been friends with teams that we're still friends with, including Robotics, which we're going to Worlds with.
One of the biggest things about competing in first is learning how to set goals and then achieve those goals. It's about there are deadlines that you have to meet. It functions a lot like a business. And a lot like a business, you also have to work on connecting with your communities and working to foster an environment in the STEM community, in your local STEM community, that sort of allows you to continue on and learn and grow. And I think that's something that's really special about First.
Now the team is preparing to represent Utah as one of just 2 regional representatives at the upcoming World Championship.
That's incredible. That is fantastic. Is this another video? Unrelated. Okay.
And this is how they get back to nationals. They roll a tire.
Well, this is great. And so you're going to go to Houston, right? And you're raising money right now to get to Houston. When is that, in April? April 14th or something like that? 20th. Good for you. Fantastic. Would you mind if we took a picture? Very good. And where's your where's Amy? Right. Coach, they did a great job. Did they leave anything out? Incredible. So team without a cool acronym, huh? Who came up with congratulations?
It was a team effort, but it was mostly me. I pitched the idea and everyone was like, yeah. Yeah, it's like the contribution of these words, because they are the bottom of the organization who supports the organization without a cool acronym. They made our team.
There we go. Very nice. Good job.
They're great. Now, this isn't the first time you guys have been successful, right? Getting used to that winner's circle up there. Thank you. I would, at this time, entertain a motion to change our agenda items and go ahead and go to item 5 and do item 4 after that.
So moved.
So we have a motion second to change or swap item 4 and 5. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. We're now on to the next item, which is consideration of proclamation number 2022-20, a proclamation declaring March of 2022 to be Washington County Law Enforcement and First Responder Month. Commissioner Albanquest?
Well, I don't know about anybody else, but about 2 years ago, when the entire nation seemed to shift away from the respect that law enforcement and first responders deserved, that's bothered me. I don't know if it bothered anybody else, but it was sincerely, personally, to our family an offense, because our little 1.5-year-old son who had drowned was literally by one of St. George police officers, I believe, who was off duty, but closest to the scene, came and offered relief and assistance. And I think it was because of him that there were those precious seconds bought. And so today my son is at MBA school at Kellogg University. So I can tell you that this was a personal offense when anybody across the nation started to get on that bandwagon. And sorry it's taken 2 years, but it's only fitting, because all of that started in a march about 2 years ago, that we should at this time declare this proclamation in Washington County. And I'll read it, and we'll then offer any discussion, it'd be nice to have our sheriff as well as anyone else. I've asked Chief Stoker and Chief Whitehead if they'd like to say a few words, and we'll proceed after this. But here it goes. Proclamation number 2022-20. Proclamation declaring March of 2022 to be Washington County Law Enforcement and First Responder Month. Whereas the residents of Washington County are recipients of the finest fire, police, sheriff, and emergency service teams of anywhere in the nation. Whereas each of us feel indebted to them for the security to life and property we enjoy. Whereas recent events demonstrated again that all our agencies are performing their duties at the highest level of expertise and competence. Whereas recognition for these duties has not been given proper credit nationally. Whereas other areas of the United States did not show support for local law enforcement over the past 2 years. Whereas our local law enforcement and first responders have been unprecedented with their demands upon their responsibilities over the past 2 years. Whereas the county sheriff, as chief law enforcement officer in the county, cannot do it all alone. The sheriff relies on the excellence and cooperation of our partners in law enforcement. Whereas the Combined Drug Task Force is an example of a cooperative effort to efficiently investigate and prosecute controlled substance abuse offenses. Whereas chiefs in all municipalities have shown their willingness to join together when the situation dictates. Whereas this unified effort results in the best outcomes for our citizens, whereas our crossroads location causes many illegal activities to pass through our county, whereas our relationship with the Utah Highway Patrol is invaluable in apprehending those who conduct such activities, whereas these activities often prey upon our citizens, and whereas our lifestyle and peace must be preserved for us and for future generations, whereas the Washington County Commission wishes to recognize and appreciate all who care for the life, property, and well-being of the citizens of Washington County, now therefore be it proclaimed by the County Commission of Washington County that March of 2022 is Washington County Law Enforcement and First Responder Month, and we encourage our citizens wherever possible to thank anyone involved in law enforcement or rescue so they know of our appreciation for their services. That's the end of the proclamation.
Very good. Sheriff Brooksby?
So just to echo what Commissioner Albanquest said, yeah, 2020 and 2021 was a pretty rough year for law enforcement nationally. One awesome thing that we saw in Washington County, we saw an outpouring of community coming out to thank us. So that tells me we still live in a wonderful place. I know Commissioner Albanquest, you personally, that handwritten letter back in the beginning of 2021, that meant the world. I mean, when a lot of us work for elected officials, at the end of the day, we need to know that the elected officials support what we're doing. And we know that we're out there doing the best we can. We police our own very well, in Utah very well. So we really, the proclamation is very appreciated. And again, I want to thank the citizens in Washington County, the outpouring. I mean, I know St. George Police Department had a bunch of food dropped off, and they would invite everybody, you know, through dispatch, hey, if you guys are in St. George, come on over and eat some Cafe Rio or whatever it may be. Gift baskets being dropped off at the office, and just citizens coming out of the woodwork to just come up and pat us on the back and say thanks. So
absolutely,
we really appreciate it.
Chief Whitehead, I know we probably didn't ask you to say anything, but thank you for being here.
Thanks, Commissioners. It really is a privilege to work in law enforcement in Washington County. The one thing that you read in that proclamation that I think is really important is our partnerships. We have great partnerships here with all of the police departments, with the sheriff's office, all of the first responders. It's really outstanding to think of the incidents that we're able to get through, sometimes very, very negative things, because of the great people that we have here in Washington County and those partnerships. In addition to that, I really feel like it's the citizens, it's the community that comes out and supports us. They are the ones that help us be effective, and without the communities, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And so thank you for that recognition, and on behalf of the St. George Police Department, I appreciate it.
Thank you. I know we have St. George City Mayor Michelle Randall here, and of course, and Chief Stoker as well. Chief, do you want to say something as well?
Commissioners, it's good to be here. I'm a little outnumbered with law enforcement, but again, it's great to have the relationships, like both Sheriff and Chief Whitehead said. Your proclamation hit it right on the nail on the head. We can't do this alone. Back in the early 2000s, we formed a regional team that all of us are members of, our regional hazmat, now all hazards team, and it includes emergency management, EMS, fire, and law enforcement. And it's a humbling experience to serve. It's really a privilege to be a public servant. I've been in it 36 years now, and it's still just the greatest experience to come to work and serve. With our team and just on incidents throughout the county, it doesn't matter what patch you're wearing, what agency you work for. We serve all of our citizens of our county, and it's a very humbling experience to do so. We have a lot of responsibility given to us to do those jobs that we do. We're very fortunate to have the cooperation we do here in the county and the region. Not all areas of the state and the country enjoy those partnerships between law enforcement, fire, and emergency services, and emergency medical services. So we have seen, like I said, as we built this team over the years, great cooperation between all agencies involved and all disciplines. We've got quite a bit of grant money that we've been very benefited the county and the region, but it comes in cooperation. We look at the big picture. We're not short-sighted just for our agency. We look to see what's best for the county and the region, and it's been a pleasure to work with all these law enforcement here. I consider all of these guys my friends and gals. Sorry. But again, we enjoy a great relationship with each other, and we work together as a team. Like I say, where some agencies have turf battles, have jurisdiction battles. We just don't see that in Washington County. We're here for the benefit of the residents, no matter what city or agency they're with. So again, thank you for the recognition.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we also have Chief Williams and Chief Exel here as well.
Where they at? Hiding back there?
Yep. Chief Williams
right
Chief
here.
Excel.
Excellent, hiding behind it.
Come on up, Chief.
I'm unprepared. Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity. Chief Williams with Washington City Police, and just honored and humbled to represent our law enforcement community here. And we're honored for your recognition for our profession. We stand with our partners here and with a great support, and we're grateful for your support as a county and as a community members from the county as well. Thank you.
Thank you,
Chief.
No reason to take a lot of your time. I just want to say also to you, the commission, we thank you very much. You guys are true leaders in this county, and we do appreciate everything that you do on behalf of all of us in Washington County. With these people standing behind me and our illustrious county attorney, we do live in the greatest county in the world, and we have great cooperation. It's a great teamwork effort, and I'm going to tell you, I know these people, and I've known most of them for most of their career, since I think I've been here longer than any of them. I think, what did you say today? 67 years is what they said today.
In law enforcement.
I told them they were a little short, but that was okay. But anyway, with all of our partners that we have in Washington County, we do appreciate the support we get from our elected officials, our appointed officials, and we do appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, could we do a photo in front, everybody, please?
Include our county commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, as everybody takes their seats or makes their way out, you know, they kept talking about partnerships, and in the last 6 months, those partnerships have been on display numerous times, and the only way they were able to keep people safe and end very significant threats was with those partnerships and from multiple agencies, right, Sheriff? So, including in the last couple of weeks, and so we're so just incredibly grateful for the men and women that decided to step up and keep us safe, and for a thankless job most of the time. But I hope they understand that the thanks of those of us up here at least.
At this time, we'd like to vote on this resolution. I believe the motion's been made.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you.
Commissioner Chair, if I may, just really, Chief Williams stood up and said, I'm unprepared, right? As someone who is lucky enough to kind of interact with these guys and watch them and just kind of be in awe, the only time these guys are ever unprepared is if they're getting an award or recognition, right?
That is a very good point.
It's remarkable that we can live in a community that has statistically such a low, especially low crime rate, especially low violent crime rate. Like statistically, we are one of the safest places. But when the big, crazy incidents happen, they just seem to always go smooth. I mean, everybody comes together, they all roll together, and things have worked out really, really well. And that's because we have well-trained people that get along really well, and it's just phenomenal, the job that gets done.
You know, these are trying times, and it's been interesting, these communities that decided to kind of bag on their law enforcement and defund the police, and boy, they're just that's a thin line between. Anyway, and it's emotional almost as I see, you know, the back the blue signs that go into yards, and I see the people kind of coming together to support.
Yeah. Do you mind, Chair, if we instruct staff to maybe doll this up and put a city stamp on it or county stamp on it and then get it to them? Because I'd like this to be ongoing, and that almost every March we reiterate our backing. So if we can do that, that would be great.
We could maybe give a copy to the sheriff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
We'd like to decorate his office for him.
Yeah. Well, we'll go on to what was item 4 on our agenda, which is consideration of purchase request. Ray? Huh?
Maybe the art contest.
Oh, well, we might as well move on then to the art contest.
Perfect.
So this is where we hand out money. I mean, it's whether Ray or Art.
So I just thought I would just recap and give a little bit of background. But when the county started working with the architect in designing the parking structure, we created a
How did I miss
I'm
item
not sure,
2?
but I just...
It's the biggest.
It's like the biggest item right there, you know. I was so excited about the Robotics Club. I just...
You're going to get really excited about this because this is like such a great day for us here. But anyways, we created a 32 foot high by 16 foot wide portion in the tower that originally was called out in the original plans as a clock. So I thought about that for a while, and as if the 3 of you could recall, I went to each one of you and I said, rather than a clock, wouldn't it be neat to get community involvement and to be able to just capture the beauty of Washington County. So from that, a public notice was sent out seeking submissions of either a photo or an art depiction, just depicting the Washington County's beauty. So after that closed, we had 105 entries, and I thought that that was phenomenal. We weren't sure, you know, how many would want to submit, but anyways, we were really excited about that. It took us an extra 2 weeks to try to like sort through them and really make a really wise decision. So in the contest rules, the winner chosen would have their photo or art displayed on the tower of the parking garage. And this was a very difficult decision, as all three of you know in the panel that we had. So the county had the opportunity within the contest rules to ultimately, we had the opportunity and ultimately decided to purchase additional pieces. These additional pieces will go in the new administration building, and I'm calling these the runners-up. So without further ado, if I could ask Mary Ellen Lopez to please come forward. Mary Ellen, how are you? Nice meeting you. So if you just want to kind of stand there for a minute. So I thought that we could, Cheyenne, if you could display the submission that she submitted for us. Are we right if we just have one more? Mm-hmm. So she, Mary Ellen, submitted one of the only paintings, and we thought that it was so enjoyable to look at. The longer we looked at it, the more we just fell in love with it. So we would like to award this painting as a runner-up and want to display this within the lobby of the new administration building. In addition, Mary Ellen was so kind, and I'm not sure if you can read that very well, but she did a description of the areas depicted clockwise from the top. So I'll just go over that very quickly. Number one, you start up at the top. It's the Hot Air Balloon Festival at Sand Hollow State Park in 2021. The second one is the autumn foliage near Court of the Patriarchs in Zion National Park in 2021. The third is the rendition of the old stagecoach and Utah's Dixie map, Pioneer Courthouse in 2022. Number four is the Dixie Rock, 2021. I hope everyone can kind of follow me. I'm going a little fast, but the next is the historical schoolhouse and building in Grafton in 2022. Then the petroglyphs at Anasazi Trailhead in Ivins in 2022, the dinosaur attraction at Thunder Junction, St. George of 2022, and then the carousel and the festival attractions Town Square Park, St. George in 2021. So in addition, Mary Ellen, what we wanted to do is we are actually going to create a little plaque that has that description that will sit next to your art piece so that as people come in that they can enjoy and really find all the hidden gems that you have portrayed in there. So anyways, so if we could just give a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Nicole, I just want to chime in real quick. When you said over 100 submissions, these were not like 100 okay submissions.
No.
These weren't like awesome. 80 and 20 really good submissions.
Right.
These were all museum
Fantastic.
Quality, like gallery. You could see them hanging anywhere. These were stunning
Very much
pieces
so.
of art. The quality in this county,
Mhm.
I was pretty impressed with, and from so many different people. It was great.
Well
Hard
said.
to decide.
Gorgeous, which is what took a couple extra weeks.
Thank you for saying that, Commissioner. That's absolutely true. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I've lived in Washington County for over 10 years now. And these are things that give me an opportunity to depict some of the fun things I've learned how to do here. And the activities to Washington County are beautiful. And from hiking to enjoying festivals, Thunder Junction is such a fun all-abilities park. Grafton was so enjoyable to go see, and it's depicted in a lot of world-famous movies. The Dixie Rock, I just didn't want to lose that sentiment. We may lose the word Dixie somewhere, but I don't want to lose that in our history. That Pioneer Courthouse was very enjoyable. I had never been there, but I wanted to depict something historical as well. So that gave me a chance to go into the planning office, that they call it, and look at the old maps. So it was very enjoyable. The title is Live, Love, Learn, Washington County.
Thank you.
Beautiful visual.
Very good.
Thank you. And we'll make sure that we put that on the plaque. So thank you, Mary Ellen. Let's see, next, if Dewey Farmer could please come forward. This is the first time I'm meeting these individuals as well, so very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Okay, if you just want to maybe, yeah, just kind of hang out a little bit for a second. Let's see, if you could bring up the next photo, Cheyenne, for us. And maybe, Gil, do you mind kind of? So, Dewey Farmer submitted this, and right away it was, I mean, just talk about stunning. It's just breathtaking for me. And we would actually like to award this as the runner-up and display this in our commission chambers in the new administration building. So just stay there for just a second, Dewey. If we could pull up the next one. Thank you, Cheyenne. This is another one that we would like to award as a runner-up and also display in our chambers. We had so many submissions of gun lock, it was very difficult to determine which one we wanted to award, but we just thought that, I mean, this was beautiful. They all were fantastic. But the other thing that I hope that each person recognizes is between the winner and the runners-up, we really have tried to just give a real good ground of what Washington County is about. So we tried to not focus just in one area. So hopefully you'll understand that as well as we move along. And then finally, the third one that Dewey submitted several. And Dewey, we would like to award this photo as runner-up and also display in the chambers. We just thought this was spectacular of Snow Canyon State Park. So anyways, if we could just give a round of applause and then we can...
As my business law professor taught me, if all the information is on a watermelon rind, you can go and take that to the bank. So I'd really like Dewey to take these to the bank and really see what they say, but it has to have all the proper accounts on it and everything.
So the next one that we want to highlight is from Spencer Sullivan. Actually, he could not be here today. I believe he is joining us via Zoom. So hopefully we could maybe even unmute him. However, his mother-in-law is presenting him and is in person today. Marie Gardner, you wouldn't mind coming forward? That would be fantastic. Thank you. And then Cheyenne, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, perfect.
Spencer is on Zoom.
Okay. Hello, Spencer.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for having our representative today. So the first photo that we would like to award as a runner-up, this would be actually displayed in the lobby, and this is another like a picture of Zion National Park, and we just thought that it's kind of hard, but it actually is very vibrant, has beautiful colors from the sky to the flowers. So Spencer, thank you for taking that magnificent photo for us.
Yeah, this one kind of looks a little monochromatic. Anybody in the audience is like, you guys may have botched it. This is a beautiful, there's yellow flowers and stuff. It's just maybe the projector. I can tell you, it's not the picture, because it is stunning.
It's very beautiful. So we'd like that to go in our lobby. The next one, if you could display that. Spencer, we just thought this was just amazing, and we would like to award this as a runner-up and display this also, I believe, in the chambers of our new administration building. So if we could give Spencer a round of applause for his T-shirt.
Thank you.
Let's see if we could have Dewey Farmer come back up one more time. So after much debate, as Commissioner Snow mentioned, this was such a hard decision. I wish we could have picked all of them. However, one continually stuck out to us over and over again as we reviewed 105 over and over and over again. And Cheyenne, if you could show that picture, that we would like to award this as the winner, that will be displayed on the new parking garage. And perhaps, Dewey, if you want to take a second and go to the microphone, I would love for you to kind of explain, like, to my understanding, this was 3 photos that you sort of put together. It is tremendous. It's just tremendous. So it does not.
It doesn't.
But it will on the new parking structure.
Come look at his computer afterwards or something, because it is like what I'm looking at right now is not the same.
I'm not one to give speeches, and I'm pretty overwhelmed right now. Thank you very much for the honor. But a little bit about the photograph. It's more than 3 photographs. There's staged in 8 separate sections. There's 64 photographs total, stitched together. They call that as Bergerama photography. Reason for that, I built, actually, my wife can vouch for this, I made a tool. So I was able to take these photographs, stitch them together without a lot of distortion, parallax. So Mother Nature called, and I went to Zion, and this is one of them that I was able to capture.
So when you say 64, were they all taken at the same time?
Yes.
Interesting.
Well,
and it's, you know, you just step it across and move the camera down, step it across, move it down, step it across, till you get what you want. Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece of art, and it's a little, I don't know, I'm a little uneasy when you say, I was going on a parking garage, because I don't think it doesn't quite do it justice, right? Like, it's in a parking, it's like, that's where you put the art you didn't really want to see again. But really, it's going to be displayed prominently for everybody who passes major streets as the spot to see a gorgeous piece of art that everybody's going to love as they drive past.
So Cheyenne actually she's going to unveil the final rendering of and again, we tried to do the best that we could in the short time that we had to do this, but As you enter in on 100 East, the administration building will be on your right, and smack in front of you will be your photography right there. So the other thing that I want to mention to all the art winners is that when you do follow Sarah back, she does have some paperwork for you to fill out and obviously your checks. But in addition, we would really like your signatures on your art pieces, because we would like everyone to know who took the beautiful picture or did the painting. So she will also ask you to put your name a couple of times on a blank piece of paper. That's what we're going to be utilizing that for. If you have a better way that you'd rather have us do it, we're open to that. But otherwise, we will make sure that your signature is on each of art that we have captured in our building and on the garage. So anyways, if we could give Dewey a round of applause. You want to just, yep. So Sarah will take the winners now back into her office and kind of do a little bit of paperwork for you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I feel like we've had some good celebrations already.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, Ray.
Gets better. Ray.
Yeah, now Ray's here. Let's celebrate. What makes this county work?
Ray, where's your artwork?
Right here in this
in front of us.
Yeah.
This is much less
in
fun.
my folder here.
Much less fun.
Is a purchase request in there for the art contest?
No. It was under the allotted amount.
Okay.
You're okay.
Oh, that's right.
You're within policy. Anyway, the first few I have here are for tourism. The first one is for January and February PR expenses, in a total of $20,640. The next one is a continuation of the first one. This is for the remainder of the contract through March through December. This is $133,250. The next one is for Ironman World Championships ad buy for volunteer recruitment, local engagement, and local business information. This is a total of $60,000. The next one is for 2022 trail maintenance contract. This is a blanket PO that will get us through the entire year, paid quarterly, and that's for $10,000. The next one is for a 2022 influencer media package. This is part of the internet marketing. This is for $75,000. The next one's a 2022 ad buy agreement. This is also a blanket purchase order. The services include research, planning, buying, and reporting of print and digital advertising. This will get us through the year. This is for $596,275. And then IT's got the next one. This is for a new battery backup for the new administration building, a total of $26,175.97. And then the next one is for data storage for the new administration building. This is a total of $94,600. On to Legacy Park. This first one is for a remodel. This is remodeling the old jockey room to the new green room. And this is a total of $21,500 and includes all the labor for that.
Want our jockey room all shined up for Walker Hayes, don't we?
Yeah, we do. It's a new need. We got to figure something out.
Exactly.
They've been putting up tents and stuff for now, so. The next one is for some concrete. This is for 11,400 square feet of concrete behind the grandstands, for the Lions building. This is for $49,020. And then the next one is also for Legacy Park. This is for roof repair for the Harmony building. It includes all the labors and material for $32,425. The next one is for the library. This is for 10 HP Elite computers. This is for $14,496.60, and this is grant funded.
With our new shiny policy.
And then the next one is for equipment fuel for the roads department. This is for $35,613.89. And the last few are for the sheriff's office. This first one is for electric bikes and the bike racks to go along with this. This is for our search and rescues teams. This is for $14,996.
I want a picture of Daryl riding one of those bikes.
I don't think I said it was 2 bikes. It's for 2
All right.
bikes. This next one is for a blanket purchase order for the commissary. This is for $60,000 and will get us, we're expecting through June. The next one is another blanket purchase order for culinary purchases. Again, hoping this will get us through June for $75,000. Next one is another blanket purchase order for culinary purchases for $25,000. And the final one is also a blanket purchase order for culinary purchases for $180,000, and this one will probably get us through the year, that vendor.
Sometimes we forget that everybody that has to stay at the jail has to eat.
They do. And unless there's any questions.
We're talking about the electric bikes. I do believe that Sergeant Cashin just walked in if you wanted to repeat your request.
I just want to make sure that Sergeant Cashin tries out those bikes when we first get them. The electric bikes, the e-bikes.
I'll try them out for you.
All right, very good.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the purchase orders as read by Ray.
I second the motion.
A motion and a second to approve the purchase orders request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Thank you
Mr.
very
Chair,
much.
I think it's important that we note too that sometimes people say, why are you marketing Washington County? Everyone knows us. We should emphasize that a state legislature has required that certain portions of the transient room tax we collect from visitors here has to go through to marketing. And so we can appreciate our tourism office and all that they do, making sure that it's marketed to a group that maybe hasn't come here yet, or who might, or who would appreciate it. And yeah, hats off to you, but that's why we still market Washington County.
But the Dixie Center specifically, not just,
Right.
the whole area. And
Yep.
It's always good to bring that up. And it saves everybody taxes. So.
It does.
Yeah.
Item 6 is consideration of resolution R-2022-2910, a resolution approving policy to transfer a sheriff's deputy's duty pistol upon retirement. Commissioner Albanquest, and then
Okay.
Sheriff.
Yeah, well, Sheriff, as you make your way up, primarily this is simply to say, as a token of appreciation, I don't know about anybody else, but you don't have to watch a bunch of Westerns to understand that when you're in law enforcement, you're directly tied to your defense mechanism, which
That
is
sentimental value to it.
to your pistol. Yeah, it's like your buddy, and that we are instructed by training and state law and our county attorney. This is not an offensive weapon. It may be forced into that, but it's primarily something you use also to protect yourself.
Correct.
And in that regard, we, upon retirement, felt like this was an important issue. Maybe you can help us get to that
this
step.
is it's not an uncommon practice in law enforcement nationally. Traditionally, as the commissioners know, if we have an employee that's going to retire with a minimum of 20 years at the sheriff's office in good standing. Traditionally, we would buy them a Marlin brass. It's more of a hang-on-the-wall rifle, right? No one's going to go out and shoot it. In doing some polling within the office, we put this option out there, and by far everyone said, yeah, the Marlin rifle, it's nice, but we'd prefer to have our service weapon, something that we actually carried in the line of duty. And we look at the cost of the Marlin rifle versus the cost of the pistol. We're right in the same ballpark, particularly if you take consider a little bit of reduction in the cost of with wear and tear with the pistol. So we wouldn't be able to sell them for what we paid for them brand new, right?
Yep.
So that's just it. So, and then also with the surplus requirements, so this would allow you to recognize that this would be a common practice at the sheriff's office, so we wouldn't have to go through the surplus process with every firearm. So that's the gist of it. And we did work with legal in a liability and waiver form that employee would be filling out and signing as they retire and receive that handgun. So
absolutely, I think it's a good policy.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution R 2022-2910.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Item 7 is consideration of resolution number R 2022-2920, a resolution approving an agreement between Washington County and Bertra Inc. for simulated firearm training and equipment. Jason.
Thank you, Commissioners, for considering this resolution. It's apropos considering the previous resolutions that have taken place in the meeting tonight. As you're aware, Washington County is the grant management entity for this region. Chief Stoker actually talked about that earlier. The Southwest Regional Response Team receives a number of grant funding every year, and this is one of the law enforcement specific projects from those grant funds that we manage. It is a next generation firearms training thing, and I have personally used this where I work before, and it is invaluable to the law enforcement partners in the region. Not only is it a anti-terrorism and anti-active shooter based training tool, but it comes with the advantages also of allowing agencies to train on decision making, to train on use of force, to train on de-escalation even, for that matter. So it is a 300-degree experience for the person that's training. They walk up on a platform and they have 300 degrees of this training simulation around them. And it not only has audio and visual, but it comes with tactile response. They can wear a device on their belt that gives them pain response if they are shot. I experienced that. So that's what you have before you is this training tool. You're looking at something that will probably go forward several years until such time as it's either not useful to us anymore or something better comes along. There is a video, a little bit violent, but if you needed it, we have it available for you tonight. That's the topic that this thing addresses. So, any questions?
Well, I just know with the equipment that you already have, you step into that room that you have and you go through that training. You know, anybody who's criticizing law enforcement for actions, you know, armchair quarterback, they really need to be in these, at least to sit in that simulation process, and you're making those decisions very quickly. And it was really eye-opening for me when I just had, you know, I stepped in a couple times. I think either I was shot or somebody was shot. I mean, it was a bad deal. I failed. It was like one of the big, you know, failures. But I think it's really critical. Yeah. And I want to say that some of the video was actual video of like, our deputies responding to certain situations, and you were asked to kind of make those evaluations and understand what risk you were in and who was at risk. And
Yeah, this upgraded one, because I've done this one at the AG's office in Salt Lake, and I've done ours here, and this is a remarkable. It shakes you. You might not sleep good that night.
Yeah.
But
To your point, the Attorney General's office probably is the closest one to us. There isn't another one like this. Well, I believe Provo or Utah County may have one as well. But for this region, for Southwest Utah, this is pretty fantastic.
So would we install it here, or do you have several locations?
It is planned to go at least in the short term. I don't know how long we'll be able to keep it there. IHC has given up some space at the old hospital on 400 East for it. Other agencies have jumped up and down willing to take that space as well, or take that place as well. But for now, that's the location. Obviously, there's some other logistics to work out as far as access, and that's been worked out at this point as far as location.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's a very good expenditure.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution number R 2022-2920, a resolution approving an agreement between Washington County and Virtua, Inc. for simulated firearm training and equipment.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Item 8 is consideration of resolution R-2022-2911, a resolution appointing a board member to the Washington County Tourism Tax Advisory Board. And let's see, Brittany? I have Kevin here, but I don't see Kevin, so.
So we're excited to replace, well, we're not excited to replace Kyle Case, but we have to replace Kyle Case with a new board member, and we're asking for Ken Nilsson to be added to our Tourism Tax Advisory Board.
And very quickly, just for anybody that might be watching, explain the Tourism Tax Advisory Board. And
so the Tourism Tax Advisory Board is a board of tourism and civic professionals that are involved in the tourism industry that come together every other month to discuss tourism-related projects and funding. And we do a marketing report and a budget report to them as well.
And those recommendations come back to the county commission. So a lot of times when people might see something come across in this meeting, it's been vetted through the tab board if it has a tourism nexus. So very good. Thank you.
Chairman, I move we approve resolution number R-2022-2911, a resolution reappointing a board member of the Washington County Tourism Tax Advisory Board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Our next item, item 9, is consideration of resolution R-2022-2912, a resolution appointing members to the Habitat Conservation Advisory Committee. Cameron, Rogan?
Yes, so the Habitat Conservation Advisory Committee, as you guys, most of you know, but for the sake of the public listening in, is a committee that helps manage the implementation of our habitat conservation plan. Our plan often deals with management issues related to the Red Cliffs Desert Reserve or the desert tortoise and how that might intersect with local development. So we had one member, as you all know, Mayor Bramall decided not to run for re-election. So the Mayor's Association has nominated Chris Staley, Mayor of Washington City, to replace him. And then we also have Chris Blake, who's served for many years, probably the longest tenured member that we have, that is also due to be reappointed as well. So
very good.
I like how you described not only Mayor Staley, but then Chris, it says here, reappointed to the Habitat Conservation Advisory Committee as the environmentalist.
Yeah, yes.
World-known the environmentalist.
He represents the environment, the local environmental groups here in the county.
I like how it's written.
Fantastic. Well, good.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution number R 2022-2912, appointing members to the Habitat Conservation Advisory Committee, Mayor Chris Staley and Chris Blake. Terms expire February 28th, 2025.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Well, Cameron, I hope that Commissioner Snow's been doing a good job on that advisory group as well.
Been doing a Good job, great job.
Great job. Yep, I knew
Oh,
that.
this good stuff is.
Absolutely. Item 10 is consideration of resolution R-2022-2913, a resolution appointing a member to the 5-County Human Services Council Advisory Board. And let's see, Commissioner Albanquest?
Thank you, Chair. I'm on this board, and there are a couple of vacancies that occurred.
This board puts board back into board.
Yeah.
You can tell the room is emptied out, so he assumes that people are sleeping at home at this point.
No, I've been on this board. We should give you a medal. And whoever we're going to appoint, thank you.
Well, a couple of meetings ago, I differentiated by saying how board was spelled in each case, right? Anyway, in this particular one, you might have it right, but the actual duties are monumental to those in need. And I can tell you, they manage grants. It is mind-boggling how to try to keep track of all the grants. And literally, each one comes with this long list of who you can and cannot give it to. And sometimes they overlap, and it's incredible what they do. I'm glad I don't do it. But it does take a board to help administer it. And so with Ryan Reeder coming, we have one more opening, but I talked to them today, and they're working on that, which we'll see here eventually. But for sure, I move that we approve Ryan Reeder to serve on this 5-County Human Services Council Advisory Board, Resolution 2022-2913.
And I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes.
I really hope, the chances of somebody going back and reading the minutes here, Mr. Chairman, are fairly low. But the chances that
We're only
Maury
on
Kessler
Facebook Live broadcast,
may
and we have Maury over
quote
here.
you tomorrow. I'm just wondering,
If Maury had to cover that board.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it is an important board. It really is. Okay, I'm going to move right along here to item 11, which is consideration of resolution R-2022-2914, a resolution appointing a member to the Angel Springs Special Service District. And this special service district is a water district in a small portion near Leeds. And the name that we have to put forward is Rantandeep Handal. And we'd like to appoint him with an expiration in his term of 2023, December 31st. And that's my motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. 12 is consideration of resolution R-2022-2915, a resolution approving a revised limited access agreement affecting property used by Washington County Special Service District 1. And Commissioner Albanquest, I know it has me to speak to this a little bit, but you attended the meeting last night. And you sit on that board.
The results were that access would be granted for 5 years, and that it could have a 5-year renewable tacked onto the end of it if all conditions are met.
Okay.
For road maintenance and for access and basically being a good neighbor on what's our road. But the need to access this property is really through us, and our attorneys have reviewed it, and so has the attorney for
Solid Waste District.
For the solid waste, and we really feel like it's in our best interest to grant it, and that's what they voted on, but pending our approval.
Very good. And for anybody who might be watching on Facebook Live, so the solid waste district where our landfill is at, that property is titled to the county, and this right-of-way would be granted to a neighbor for the purpose of extracting sand and gravel, which is needed as well. So, very good. I'll take that as a motion that you just...
I made that motion on item number 12, yes.
And I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. 13 is consideration of resolution R-2022-2916, a resolution to approve and execute the One Utah Opioid Settlement Moratorium of Understanding. And Devin Snow...
Memorandum.
Eric Clark, you got...
Moratorium of understanding.
What did I say?
Moratorium.
Memorandum.
We're
getting-
holding it for all time, a moratorium on any sort of understanding.
We still have the great robotic kids here, and I'm just back here just, they're like, man, what kind of people we have running this county?
Fun people.
Anyway.
So, commissioners, this is a partial settlement opioid lawsuit the county is party to. Several years ago, counties and states across our country filed lawsuits because there was clear evidence that opioid manufacturers and some specific opioid distributors or marketers for opioid manufacturers were pushing the overprescription of opioids that led to addictions and a ton of societal burden. And that's not to paint everybody who's involved in the opioid industry as bad, right? But there were some bad actors. And so our county, along with, again, just about everybody else in the nation that's a governmental entity, filed a lawsuit, and we're starting to see the settlement process of those. So this is a mass tort situation. Many of the lawsuits have been consolidated into a single place. The Utah lawsuits haven't been consolidated for some different legal reasons. But this is a settlement that's been put forward by about a third of the defendants, and directly this will give us about $7 million over 7 or 18. Comes out to be about $400,000 a year that would come into our county for drug addiction help, and kind of thing. This isn't the end to our lawsuit because, like I said, it's only about a third of the parties, and so we'll continue to move forward with that. This very well could become the blueprint that the rest of those parties follow. And it's not a done deal necessarily. It's pretty close to a done deal. All different counties in our state and from across the country are all kind of waiting to see how many join into this, and then the defendants make their agreement based on that. So our office recommends that you guys do this, and almost all of the counties in the state of Utah are signing.
This is what formalizes that.
Yeah. This is your
we're
final
agreeing
action.
right here.
Yeah.
Can you add to that? The purpose of what we can do with the money going forward isn't trying to, and sadly doesn't make people whole from the settlement. That's not what those who've been prosecuted felt that they wanted to do, but rather to see how it goes forward to make sure that other health needs are met, and how we can sort of be a deterrent for something else like this to happen, and increase our health care locally.
Yeah. Well,
would you say that better?
Yeah, that's a good clarification. You know what? The money can be used for anything that's aimed at helping us as a county help people that are struggling with addiction issues. So again, it's not targeted to past grievances. Right. It's looking forward of what we can do.
Absolutely. You know, I think it's important to have a settlement like this, but at the same time, you know, we're really having an addiction crisis, and throughout this country, and so many lives have been wrecked, and it's really kind of sad. This won't even help at all. But I have been in some meetings where a comment was made that a lot of addiction started with a brown bottle. So the prescriptions that were prescribed, the number of prescriptions that we prescribe as a country compared to other industrialized countries is far more. So I think it's important that we finally, as a society and with these producers, recognize, look, there's real effects to what's been going on here, human effects, and so.
Great.
Absolutely.
Good comments.
Mr. Chairman, I move, with those comments, I move that we approve resolution number R-2022-2916, approving and executing the One Utah Opioid Settlement Memorandum of Understanding.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Item 14 is consideration of resolution R-2022-2917, a resolution approving a cooperative agreement with Udot regarding the cost of construction of a passing lane on a portion of State Road 18. Ron Whitehead? Our Public Works Director?
Todd usually gets up to take care of these, but I was told I should take my turn
Oh.
instead of making Todd do it all the time. But, you've got before you some paperwork that tells what our agreement is with Udot to do this. It's a cooperative agreement with Udot. They will pay a portion of the cost, we will pay a portion. And we actually brought up another one to show you that it has to do with moving a utility along the road that was a little more than we expected, but they've given us a specific price and they can get it done quickly to do it. And it was an original agreement between the utility company and Udot that whenever they have to move something like that, they split the costs. Utility company pays 50%, Udot pays the other 50%. And this was all worked into our agreement when we originally agreed to it with Udot, but this run over a little bit from what we thought it would be. And so Udot's share was, I think, about 37,000 on there. And we were a little concerned that would be our share, but what that is we will actually split Udot's share 50%. So our share will be half of that, and it will go through with this project. So we think we're on time. We've had a few other things creep into it that they're working through. They're staying right on top of it. They got to move out some little soft spots in the edge of the existing road. They'll tie ours into it. We're running into a little bit of rock. They've got most of the rock moved, but there are still some little rifts of rock that run through there. They'll work that out too. So maybe a little bit of additional cost there, but they're working very well. And Todd's very good at keeping track of all the money stuff that comes through and questioning why it's done this way and that way. They've given us a lump sum price on rock removal up there, but did make sure they are keeping track of the quantities they're moving, so we know how much quantity they've moved and what it's going to cost us per ton to move that out of there per yard. So they're moving ahead quickly, and every time they have something they think might be a little distraction or deterrent, I simply remind them, hurry.
Yeah.
We got a deadline here, and so.
Yeah, we don't want the racers.
The racers are in town.
Behind the paver?
Behind the paver, that would be disappointing. So.
We have a PR person that works generally with Udot projects, and she's working for our contractor now, and she has told us that she's reached out to the bike people and asked them to stay over on the west side on the trail so they're not trying to ride up through the traffic. We've got a little bit of traffic mingling dangerously close to one another. Sheriff's office has been good to provide some deputies up there to kind of keep patrolling that, keeps an eye on them, but occasionally we have one coming that thinks that other lane is marked off for them to move out and pass in his lane, and it's a little scary when the other traffic gets close and there's nowhere in between those barrels. They hit a few and plastic barrels go flying, but Iron Man is in town practicing already for this first race, so I reminded the contractor of that, and we just keep going with it, so I think everything is working out okay.
Very good.
Ron, CenturyLink was really good to give us a breakdown on just where they thought their added expenses were. Could you comment on the aid to construction?
Oh, which one is that? Aid to construction?
Yeah, the amount there.
I don't know what it is. $1.
Yeah.
So, must have been something important.
So are they getting somebody building it a drink or something?
I don't know.
You can't get a drink for $1 nowadays.
Yeah, where are they getting it? I'm going to go with that.
So,
yeah.
Just one of those costs they figure in everywhere. So.
I'm glad that we split that. The 50 cents is what bounced it right up over that 800.
I was glad to find out we wasn't going to have to take that full 50% that was Udot's share. So
I'm glad you worked that out.
Anyway,
all right.
We think everything's moving ahead, and they still think they can get it all done. So just keep going that way with it.
Ron, commend your crew and you, since I get to drive through this every day. I mean, I've never seen it, for staying on top of this, I've never seen a crew work as fast as they are. I mean, they are right on it, and I don't know how much of that's you and your crew pushing them to make sure they're staying on it, but I'm guessing at least some of it. They're fast.
We've kept our crew pretty much out of it. That's been Todd and Sue and I mainly working with them on their meetings and just following up on stuff.
Nice. Thank you.
I just have to ask, that's not you that's been passing on the other lane, has it?
Not twice.
Okay.
No, not at all. I can't imagine somebody, I don't know how you'd fit through there. Maybe my truck's too big.
Most of them are doing pretty well coming down through there speed-wise. We've reduced the speed through that area, but every once in a while you get somebody that just feels like they're moving faster than everybody else, or they're a little bit late or something, and they're willing to take that risk, so.
My experience has been people going a little under your new speed limit because they want to see what's going on and the plastic and the road base and everything putting down. So, which is safer for the people working, and that's okay. Just take an extra minute to get through.
That's good.
Very good. Well, thank you, Ron. Appreciate that.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution number R 2022-2917, approving a cooperative agreement with Utah regarding the cost of construction of the passing lane on a portion of State Road 18, recognizing the slight overages, or at least the pendant bill that was sent to us, or our cost-sharing part of that CenturyLink bill.
Very good.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Item 15 is consideration of resolution R-2022-2918, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, Utah, declaring its intention to designate an assessment area for the purpose of levying assessments against properties within the assessment area to finance the construction and installation of road improvements, and to fix a time and a place for protest against the assessment area and its assessment and related matters. And our County Attorney Eric Clark.
Yeah, so I can kind
Couldn't
of
have come up with a better
Or
name
Ron-
for that resolution.
Or
than that.
Ron Whitehead, our Public Works Director, could speak to this.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was a very big.
Just for the
yes.
record, and Randy may be on the Zoom, our bond attorney, and we love Randy, but we always know that if we get the name of a resolution that has more words in it than years that I am old, that it came from our bond folks, right?
That is true. So.
So what this proposes to do, that's a big long name. This proposes to create a special assessment area in the Harmony Heights subdivision in New Harmony, and for the purpose of paving the roads. So one of the tools that the commissioners have, if an improvement needs to go into an area, is you guys can propose, hey, the improvement will go in, but it's unfair to have taxpayers from across the county pay for it, and so you create a special assessment area so that just the people that are benefited from the improvement pay for it. And the first step of doing something like that is to hold a resolution, and you're basically throwing the idea out there. And then we give notice, and you guys hold a public hearing and let everybody come and speak to it. The public hearing on this proposal is set for April 5th in this room at 4 p.m. And then after the public hearing, there's a protest period time, and the property owners that would be affected to be paying that assessment, basically paying that additional tax, can give you their opinion. They can send in a protest and say, I don't think we should get that improvement in our community. And if 40% or more of the property owners protest, then the idea can't move forward. But if any number less than that protest, then you guys have the discretion to choose to move forward with this. So this is the kickoff for that process. We generally involve bond attorneys on this because these things are it's a long-term thing, and there's a lot of legalese that's necessary to make it happen. So we want to make sure we get it right.
Yep. And we've actually, in the time that I've been a commissioner, we've done this at least once. It fell just short, and twice, yes, okay. Yeah, so we've done it twice, and this will be a third time. It's got to be a charm this time, so.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution R-2022-2918 as named in the resolution.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. 16, consideration of resolution R-2022-2919, a resolution clarifying the eligibility criteria for appointment to the Administrative Control Board of Hurricane Valley Fire Special Service District. Commissioner Snow?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is just clarifying the Hurricane Valley Fire Special Services District provides fire and EMS services for the eastern side of the county for a large number of municipalities and even unincorporated area. And this is just clarifying the makeup of the board, clarifying the eligibility for appointment of board members, that they be currently serving as an elected official of the nominating municipality, which is of 6 members. Hurricane, Laverican, Leeds, Tocqueville, and Virgin will each nominate 1, and then Washington County will appoint 1 member who's at large who owns property or resides within the service area of the SSD.
And we had to correct the resolution. We actually add Rockville and Springdale as well, and that is corrected. So
yep. So it's just clarifying that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a motion?
That is my motion, that we approve Resolution R-2022-29.
I'll second that motion with one question before we vote. To our attorney, even if somebody, let's say their term extends past their elected period, let's say they're not re-elected, does that terminate their board membership? Even if
Under this resolution, that would be the out.
Okay.
But that's not the outcome right now for this resolution.
Not before this resolution.
So that's what this helps.
Not now, I get it, but going forward.
That's what this helps clear, yeah.
Okay.
Did you second it?
Did.
Very good. We have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Item 17 is consideration of resolution R-2022-2921, a resolution approving an agreement between Washington County and various entities on inmate crew work. Our sheriff, Nate Brooksby.
Yeah, so I preaching the choir here. When COVID hit and we shut a lot of those programs down, that was the first thing we heard. When can we get work crews back? When can we get work? I mean, from everybody. So there's a handful of cities and entities from, Dixie Center to Hurricane, St. George, Washington City, all really like having the work crews available. And it's been some time since we've even looked at those agreements. So with me coming in, I've had a chance to look at some of those agreements, and we need to re-up some of those. We've adjusted some fees as well. Coincidentally, I was at an event last week where Mayor Billings approached me and said, "Sheriff, when can we get some more inmates over in Hurricane?" And I said, "Hey, good thing I'm already on top of it. We have a resolution."
Did you tell her all your inmates were in Hurricane, technically?
All the inmates are, yeah. But so during COVID, we had 1 crew, but they mostly stayed on ground. So they were cleaning just our site. Periodically, if we had a special event, we would send them out. But next week, we'll start up a 2nd crew. That 1st crew has now become more available, that we're letting them go off site now. They help out quite a bit at the fairgrounds, setting up for events, tables, chairs, and whatnot. They'll be very instrumental in collecting trash at the county fair. So there is a big need, and those inmates really enjoy being out working. You're right. They're making a small wage to be out there. They can buy ramen and snacks and things like that from our commissary. So that's all it is. Just a update on the agreements and a slight adjustment in the fees we've been charging. We are looking at doing a shared calendar for convenience as well, so the point of contact with those entities would have access to that shared calendar. Right now, it's just, every Tuesday, we know we're going to be in St. George City. Our sergeant will call that point of contact and say, we're going to be in the city. Where do you need us? The cemetery or somewhere else? So that's kind of how it's been working. We're trying to streamline a little bit with the shared calendar.
Just a clarifying question.
Mm-hmm.
All of the entities that utilize this are governmental, correct?
Yes. Yep.
We don't interact with private industry. It's just
correct.
Save taxpayer dollars.
I just want to make a comment about how much good these crews do in the community, from helping us out at the Dixie Center to picking up trash. And it just shows you how destructive addiction is usually in people's lives, because most of these people are in jail because they're probably in some sort of addictive cycle, but yet you break them out of that because they're incarcerated. And most of these folks have been in the system. They're state prisoners.
State prisoners, yeah.
But, when they're not fighting that vice, boy, they can just be, great assets to the community. It's just...
We call it forced sobriety.
Yes.
Another aspect of that is that with the prison, you know, we're relying on them to classify inmates, so there's only a certain classification, you know, the most loose classification. So they've been vetted over time with good behavior, and it takes them a while to become a classification 4 inmate. Those are the ones that we use for work crews, but those have kind of been scarce through the prison. With the new prison being built, and they know that they're already short beds, they've been really asking the sheriffs across the state to take more state inmates. But we've asked them, yeah, we'll take them, but we want these level 4s, and they've given us some surety that they'll be able to provide those for us. So our end goal would be to have eventually 4 crews going. I think there's enough work in the county that we could keep them busy all week long. That will take some time, though.
All righty.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve Resolution R-2022-2921, approving an agreement between Washington County and various entities on inmate crew work.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Our next item is item 18, consideration of resolution R-2022-2922, a resolution approving an agreement to remove manure at Legacy Park. And I'm really glad that our robotics club stayed here, because this is almost the last item, and just so they can appreciate, you know, how important government is, that we're going to now vote on a resolution what to do with the manure at Legacy Park. And I know they get to go out to the fairgrounds quite a bit, because that's where the extension office is. And anyway, we have our racing stalls there. They have to be cleaned out every day. That manure is stacked in a big pile, and it has to go somewhere. And this agreement is I think a win-win agreement between the county and Western Rock Product that is able to gather that manure up. They pay a small amount back to the county, and then they mix that with soil, and it's able to be used by local folks and landscapers, and this is just renewing the agreement for another 3 years. And I'd like to make a motion that we pass.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
I was noticing that sometimes these have definitions of terms.
Yeah.
But manure is not one of the items defined.
Yeah, you know, our attorneys are usually really good at identifying things, and they just fell short on this one. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Number 19 is consideration of our Public Works report. Ron Whitehead, our Public Works Director.
I got to admit, when you started reading the resolution on the SID in New Harmony, I started going through my papers, and Eric started talking, and first thing he said was, Randy's our blonde attorney, and I thought, wow, he shouldn't refer to him, somebody's a blonde attorney. So when I put my papers down, started listening, I was glad to hear that was bond attorney, Eric. I'm sorry if I didn't hear that right. Before I get started on the roads, I want to talk about Highway 18 again. This is a serious work project there, and we've got workers, construction workers, that are not very far from the active travel lanes. So they're out working, they're in heavy equipment, some of them are along sides, marking places to cut and fill, and very vulnerable if a car strays off the road. So just ask the public to pay attention, slow down, watch the road, don't worry about the guys off to the side. Just keep your eyes on the road and where you're going and what's coming at you. And a little bit of a public service announcement. I mentioned before we were into some rock in a couple of areas, and they've determined the best way to remove some of that rock, that they have to go in a little deeper, is to come in and shoot it. And so they'll do some soft shots there. They've brought in some people and calculated everything they need to know to have this non-disruptive, the people close by, and seismically non-disruptive to the residences nearby. So if they get the permits, everything set in place, they're looking at next Tuesday or Wednesday. That would be the 9th or 10th, and it will probably shut down the highway for about 20 minutes.
They need anybody to push the button.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't ask them, but there's usually somebody doing that really likes that kind of work. So whether they'd share that, I don't know.
Dang it.
You probably have to have your license or your certification.
I'm
to
sure
push
there's
the
got to be a
button.
permit for that somehow.
So and this would probably be a good one to let someone else push the button, because it is pretty close to some houses, just in case something were to go
I'm just saying,
wrong.
I live up there. If they need anybody, just let them know.
Okay. So anyway, we're asking the people to, you know, give us a little bit of leeway if we have to shut that highway down for about 20 minutes. We think that's about all it'll be, and we'll shut it both directions while they do the shooting. They'll do the first shot Tuesday or Wednesday, get that all cleaned out of there and cleaned up and drill, and they'll probably do another shot after that the next Friday. So,
for clarification of those on Facebook or just listening in, we're blasting. So if they think, what are we shooting up there? They'll now know why. It's called shooting, but
blasting. Okay. They've got an experienced blaster that does this. It's been involved this, so he's pretty good at what he does. So just watch yourselves going through the construction zone, and we'd appreciate that. Roads. Before you have a list of roads.
Yep.
And I've written it in such a way that it lists specific roads that we will plan on doing work on throughout the county. And if there is something comes up, we will substitute a road in there. If we find a road that is deteriorating rapidly that maybe wasn't on our priority list, or if there's been some type of damage to a road, we will bump some of those up and maybe not get to everything there. But I kind of worded that loosely at the end so we could throw any of those in if we wanted, but we'll bring that back to you before we specifically do that. So,
very good.
Great. Any questions on the roads?
Ron, is that something that you could just riddle off really quick so that public can hear and see what the commissioners are actually looking at?
There's some of these roads are in Kolob Ranches area, Black Ridge Ranches area, 2300 East, 2600 East, 2800 East, 3000 East, 2900 East, 1890 South, 2070 South, 2200 South, 2800 South, 2850 South, and I've listed some other roads in the New Harmony Valley area that we are watching that may need some work done on them too. Then I put the little catch-all down there, any road work listed here is dependent on financing, time, and weather. If oil prices are jumping up significantly right now, we've already priced oil out. One type of oil is $150 a ton more than what we paid last year, and the other oil is over $200 a ton, what we paid more last year. So depending on funding, we may not get to all of these roads or may have to do some shorter version of these roads too. And then I added the little sentence down, the road work is subject to change depending on the condition of the roads or other priorities.
Thank you, Ron.
Very good.
Then that's the new roads. The maintenance roads we're working on will be Kolob Mountain. We're going to chip the road going up Kolob Mountain. We've done some patching on that last few years to get it up to state where we can go ahead and do the chip seal on it. And then Antelope Road chip seal. We're going to chip that at Antelope Road so it'll hang on to the rotomill we put down there and keep the dust down out there.
Very good. And we need to take a motion on this in order to have it into the public record.
Mr. Chair, I appreciate not only the roads that Ron has listed here, but just the general maintenance all over, and then also roads that are just, that are washboarded and that goes out and they blade and make sure drainage works. So we appreciate the ones that you're proposing and also the upgrades or at least additional maintenance, but they're every day out somewhere. Having said that, we'll move to approve the list as provided by Public Works report.
And I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Public Works report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Item 20 is Commissioner's report.
Mr. Chairman, where are we going to go?
Yeah.
I just have two things. One, we talk a lot about water. I'll mention water again. I like from right here, you can see the nice sign that we have here that I think is on loan to us from the Water Conservancy District. Though it was a beautiful, nice, warm day today, I hate the cold, so I'm looking forward to this. I like the cold in the mountains where we get snow, not where I live. And but it may feel like spring. We're not spring yet. And watering once a week is all the public needs to do on. And in some places, I haven't watered for months because it just would freeze into a sheet of ice at my house right now. So, continuing to limit water and doing everybody's part to reduce our water use. As we've mentioned before, last year we had a 5% population growth, but we used 400 million gallons less water, despite the growth in the population. And so most of us are doing a good job. There are a few that need to continue to hear this message, so we'll continue to beat that drum as much as we possibly can. Only other thing would be, we unfortunately lost a good member of our community. He didn't live here, but he worked here for a long time. Keith Rigtrip, who was the field manager of for the Bureau of Land Management. He covered all of Washington County, and he passed away unexpectedly yesterday. And our hearts and thoughts and prayers are with his family and his coworkers. And he was great to work with for many, many years, as all of us have worked with him on so many different projects. And whether we agreed or disagreed, he was an exemplary federal employee, somebody who could communicate well, and he will be sorely missed, and we're just really sad for his family and his friends. And
I'd like to echo that. It's really unfortunate. Obviously, a great loss to his family and loved ones, and a great loss to those of us who knew him and interacted with him professionally and considered him a friend. And
Well, and I know that together with the things that he did on behalf of the citizens, he really had his focus on Washington County, and he always tried, with all of those federal constraints he was put under, despite what administration he had to work under and what directives were given to him, I think he got as close to possible doing the right thing for our citizens. And that's something we'll miss, and hopefully we'll get somebody equally or good as he was at that. Mr. Chair, on another notice, we've had an economic summit. We had some reports at a political meeting the other night, and we've had other things where we've focused on the economy of Washington County. And I give a shout out to our citizens, and especially our business owners, that kept open the last 2 years. And we know that we partnered with the chamber and doing quite a bit in other cities to help them over those early days of COVID, when everyone was saying shut down, and we didn't want them to not only release their employees, but also stop their services altogether. And we've seen the results of that have paid off. The last 2 years has truly been uneasy for so many, but now we're seeing that we stayed open. We had a lot of economic gains. We can credit people that came here to a certain extent, but I really want to give the shout out to our businesses that stayed open and kept people employed as best they could. Our economic rankings as a state and as a county are through the roof nationally in comparison, but truly our county, we tax the lowest in the state, and we have for sure, I mean, the numbers are staggering when you compare with some counties, that we are tiny in the taxes we collect versus them. So that's important. That information is available through our clerk auditor and other offices, but that's incredible. And despite the fact that people feel like there's so much tourism, it still is. And Susan, isn't it about $1,200 to $1,300 per household average reduction in taxes and property tax because of the influence of the funds that are collected via tourism and that economic benefit? So anyway, I just happy to live here and think it's moving forward great.
That's a good thing to remember, Commissioner Albanquest. When next time I get annoyed that the St. George Marathon has kept me bottled into my, how annoyed am I? Am I $1,300 annoyed?
Yeah.
Probably not. I'll be okay.
I'll wait. Yeah, I'll be fine.
Well, fantastic. As we just close out, I've reflected lately about how much I love the citizens of this county. We live in a beautiful area. We just saw those photos, and just how it's almost like you can turn your camera any direction and take one of these beautiful, breathtaking photos. But none of that would really matter if it wasn't matched by just the goodness of these people that we get to call neighbors and friends. And it is humbling to serve as a county commissioner. I say that often, but I mean it.
And we credit our citizens and we credit the people that come here, but in all sincerity, we could not do it without employees. We kind of look good and we get up here on the camera and we rattle off things, but you don't have, the public doesn't know what it takes to put an agenda like this together. And our attorney's office that backs it up. And it just goes without saying that our job is a lot easier because we have great, great employees, and shout out them and the other elected officials we work with.
Well said. Well, with that, we will stand adjourned.